there is a crisis in the Middle East, one country almost always finds itself in the center of discussion. That country is Iran. Now, this is not because every conflict begins in Iran. In fact, many of these conflicts begin outside of Iran, yet somehow before long, Iran becomes the part of the story. For example, take Lebanon, Iran is there. Look at Gaza, Iran names come up again. Move to Yemen, once again Iran finds itself in the discussion. So, when the same country keep appearing in the different conflict, it is difficult to believe that it's just a coincidence. So, the obvious question is, how did Iran become so influential across region where many of these conflicts are taking place outside its own borders? The answer lies in the decision Iran made more than 4 decades ago. As we all know that in 1979, the Islamic Revolution completely transformed the country. It changed the Iran government, but more importantly, it changed the Iran priorities after 1979. Until then, till 1979, the Iran had maintained a close relationship with the Western country, especially the United States. After the revolution in 1979, those relationships broken down, and once that happened, Iran stopped to see the United States and Israel as partners. Instead, it began to see them as rivals. Now, identify a rival is easy. The real challenge is deciding how to comfort that rival. Iran understands that a direct military conflict or confrontation with the countries like United States would be extremely costly. So instead of fighting every battle itself, it chose to a completely different strategy. Rather than sending its own army across the region, Iran began to supporting armed groups that operating in the different countries. The countries like or the groups like Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas in Gaza, the Houthis in Yemen, and several militants in Iraq and Syria. At first, these groups appear to be the fighting different conflicts. But if you connect those conflicts together, a clear pattern begin to emerge. Each of these groups increase the Iran's influence without requiring Iran to enter these battlegrounds. That was the real strength of this strategy. Iran could shape events far beyond its own borders while avoiding the risk of a full-scale war. For many years, this strategy appeared to work remarkably well. That means the Iran influence was expanded. Rebels found themselves dealing with the pressure from the different direction at the same time, but every strategy eventually reached a point where it began to face its biggest test. That is exactly what has happened in the recent years. The several of Iran allies have suffered a major setbacks. At the same time, international sanctions have placed enormous pressure on Iran's economy. As these two pressures come together, the cost of maintaining the same strategy that also began to rise. That changed the debate completely. What we can say that the question was no longer whether Iran had influence. The real question became whether the Iran could continue to exercise that influence in the same way. And interestingly, the answer may not lies in the Iran military. It may lies in something Iran has always possessed, its geography. Iran, what we all know that Iran sits beside the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most important maritime checkpoints. Nearly 1/5 of global oil trade that passes through this narrow stretch of water. That means many tension in this region immediately attract the attention of the entire world. Whenever there is a shipping through the strait is threatened, the oil price that react. When the oil price react, the economy react. And when the economy react, the country far away from the Middle East, that also begin to feel the impact. That is why the development involving the Iran rarely remain confined to the Iran. They quickly become a global concern. But even this advantage comes with a challenge. Every time the Strait of Hormuz is used as a strategic pressure point, there is another country that begins for searching for alternatives. Means alternative shipping routes, alternative energy supplies, alternative trade corridor, and the more alternative they find, the less effective that pressure becomes. That brings Iran to an important crossroad. Should it continue to rely the primary on confrontation, or should it make a greater use of strategic location to promote their trade, investment, and economic growth? The answer to that question matters not only for Iran, it matters for every country that depends on stability in West Asia, that including our country, India. Because for India, the peace in the region is not just a diplomatic issue, it is directly connected to our energy security, fuel price, and economic growth. That ultimately the Iran story is no longer just about one country's foreign policy, it's about how the power is exercised in the modern world. We know that the military strength can create an influence, but strategically, the geography can create a leverage. But lasting the influence that ultimately depends on whether a country can convert this advantage into a long-term stability and prosperity, and perhaps that is a real choice before the Iran today. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.